Have you ever asked yourself, what truly matters? Is it the wealth, the fame, the applause, or is it the quiet moment when you realize your time is limited and every second counts? Steve Jobs once said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." And those weren't just words. They were born from pain, from brilliance, and from a man who saw the end far too soon. This is his message to you. Steve Jobs was never one to follow the crowd. Dropped out of college, walked barefoot around campus, slept on friends' floors, and yet he built Apple. Why? Because he listened to that inner voice that whispers when the world is loud. He once said, "Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice." You see, the world will try to shape you. It will tell you to play it safe, to fit in, to be realistic. But Steve refused. He built things that didn't exist before, not because he had all the answers, but because he believed they were possible. His message? Trust yourself, especially when the world tells you not to. Steve Jobs faced death twice, once with pancreatic cancer and once with a rare liver condition. In those moments, everything became clear. Time. Time is your most valuable currency. Jobs said, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose." So ask yourself, what are you trading your time for? Social media likes? Endless scrolling? Pleasing people who wouldn't notice if you disappeared tomorrow? Steve urges you, don't wait. Live now. Work on what you love. Apologize to those you've hurt. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Start today. At his Stanford speech, Jobs said something unforgettable. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. He meant this. You don't have to know the full picture now. You just have to move forward with faith. Jobs dropped out, then sat in a calligraphy class, which eventually influenced the beautiful typography of the first Mac. He followed what he loved, and the dots connected later. So if you feel lost today, if your life feels scattered, take heart. The dots will connect. Follow your curiosity. Do what lights you up, even if it doesn't make sense yet, because one day it will. You were not born to live a copy-paste life. Steve Jobs left behind more than iPhones or computers. He left behind a mindset, a deep, burning belief in the power of living fully, fearlessly, authentically. So here's your message from Steve. Live before you die. Create before you're ready. And never, ever settle. Your time is precious. Use it well. You see, the truth is, success is not what you do when the world applauds you. It's what you do in silence, in solitude, when no one's watching, when the lights are off and it's just you and your idea, your belief, your relentless heart. Steve Jobs knew that every overnight success was years in the making. He believed in something deeper than money. He believed in legacy. He used to say, "Being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Going to bed at night saying we've done something wonderful, that's what matters to me." So let me ask you this. What are you building that will outlive you? What are you working on that makes your heart beat faster? Because if it's only about the money, you will burn out. If it's only about status, you will grow tired. But if it's about creating something meaningful, something beautiful, something lasting, then even the hard days will feel worth it. Jobs understood that people don't buy products. They buy emotion. They buy experience. They buy vision. And that's how he turned a computer company into a global movement. So what is your vision? Not just your goals, not just your ambitions. What is the world you want to see, and how are you shaping it with your gifts? Jobs wasn't afraid to be misunderstood. In fact, he expected it. Because when you do something bold, when you challenge the norm, you will be criticized, but that's the price of greatness. He didn't ask for permission. He followed the compass inside him and let the results speak for themselves. So if you're waiting for everyone to understand you before you move forward, you'll be waiting forever. Go, move, building dream. Remember the story of the first iPhone? Back then, people said it was impossible, that no one wanted a phone without buttons, that touch screens wouldn't work, that combining music, internet, and calls in one device was too ambitious. But Jobs didn't listen to noise. He listened to intuition. He trusted his gut. And he trusted the team he inspired. That's leadership, not barking orders, but showing people what they're capable of becoming. He led with fire, with vision, with purpose. So when you face resistance, and you will, don't let it weaken you. Let it refine you. The legacy of Steve Jobs isn't just in devices. It's in the idea that you can change the world if you're crazy enough to believe you can. That's what he meant when he said, "Here's to the crazy ones." Because the world has always been changed by people who were willing to stand alone first, who were willing to believe in something no one else could see. So, if you feel like a misfit, good. If you feel like your dreams don't fit in the box society built, perfect. That means you're on the right track. One more thing. Jobs taught us that we don't have forever. He once said, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose." Time is not promised. So why live someone else's life? Why stay in a job you hate? Why spend another year doing what you're told when your soul is whispering for more? Your dreams were not given to you by accident. They are a call to action, a call to build, to create, to change something. Don't wait. The future isn't something that happens to you, it's something you create today. When Jobs stood on that Stanford stage and gave his famous speech, he told every student one thing: stay hungry, stay foolish. And that's still the truth. Stay hungry for meaning. Stay foolish enough to dream. Stay brave enough to start, even if you're not ready, because ready is a lie. The time is now. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need a reason and the courage to take the first step. That's how Steve Jobs changed the world. Not with certainty, but with conviction. And you can too. Let me tell you something powerful. Steve Jobs never finished college. He dropped out. He slept on friends' floors, returned Coke bottles for spare change, walked miles every week just to get one good meal at a Hare Krishna temple. To many, he looked like a failure, but inside, he was becoming something extraordinary. He once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward." At the time, his life seemed random, unstable, messy. But in hindsight, every dot, every choice, every risk, every setback formed a masterpiece. The calligraphy class he took for fun, it inspired the fonts on the first Macintosh. The heartbreak of getting fired from Apple, it gave birth to Pixar and Next. So don't be afraid when your journey looks uncertain. Don't panic when life takes a turn you didn't plan for, because even your pain can become your power. Even your detours can lead to destiny. Jobs didn't believe in building fast. He believed in building right. He obsessed over details, not because people would notice, but because he would. That's excellence, doing your best when no one's watching. Because greatness isn't just about what you create. It's about how you create it. So if you're building a business, a brand, a life, make sure it reflects your values. Don't just rush to the top. Build something that deserves to last. Jobs didn't want to sell more products. He wanted to inspire more people. And he did. People remember Steve Jobs not because he was perfect, but because he was passionate. He was willing to fight for what he believed. He once said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." Most people are living for likes, for approval, for applause. Jobs live for impact. So ask yourself, if you died tomorrow, what would be left of you? Not your bank account, not your followers, but your work, your character, your voice. What did you stand for? What did you change? Because at the end of your life, only one question matters. Did you create something that mattered? And if you haven't started yet, don't panic. You don't have to be Steve Jobs to change the world. You just have to start. Start small. Start scared. Start unsure. But start. Start where you are with what you have and who you are. Jobs didn't wait to become great. He started in a garage. No resources, no permission, just relentless belief. And that was enough. Because belief is the seed of all greatness. So believe in yourself when no one else does. That's what Jobs did. And because of that belief, we're still talking about him today. Let me leave you with this. Steve Jobs didn't invent the phone, or the computer, or the MP3 player. What he did was reimagine what they could feel like. He didn't just make products. He made people feel powerful, creative, limitless. That's your job too. Not just to do work, but to elevate others through your work, to inspire, to lead, to dare, to give the world something it didn't know it needed until you showed up. That's legacy, and it's waiting for you. Stay hungry, stay foolish, stay fearless, and never forget, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. And maybe, just maybe, that's you. If this message speaks to your heart, consider subscribing so we can keep walking this journey together.